this is Michelle, and I'm here today to share my design team project for Country Craft Creations. This is the project that I did for the August YouTube hop that we just had last weekend. And I had a lot of fun creating with this package. This is Authentique's Masquerade paper collection for Halloween this year, and it is just absolutely adorable. And in the first tutorial that I did, again, that was the previous one for the August YouTube hop that I did with Country Craft Creations, I made this Halloween countdown calendar. And in the creation of it, I created this frame using cardstock. And then I just kind of really liked how it came together. And then I said to myself, what else could you do with it? And I had another idea. So what we're going to create today is kind of my take on one of those Whitman's candy boxes, but we're going to make it Halloween themed. And we're going to use this same concept to create the sides of the box that we used for the frame. So I'll show you how that works so that you could make these you know, kind of any size you really want. So we're going to get started and do that. That's why I wanted to show you this, because we're going to play with this idea. We're going to kind of go with that. So let's put that off to the side, and then let's get started with what you're going to need. So the first thing we're going to need are a couple pieces of chipboard. You're going to need two that are 8 3/4 by 11 1/2. And I've already got those cut out, and I've already prepared them on the back with score tape. And then the next thing we're going to need is some cardstock to cover. Because of the size of this cardstock, it's 11 1/2. It doesn't give much room to go ahead and wrap with just one piece of cardstock. So we're going to attach those together, and I'll show you how to do that. But you'll need a total of 3 pieces to do this, to cover the chipboard. So let's get started with that. So 3 12 by 12 cardstocks, and we're going to take, I'm going to turn this to the side. I'm going to take my first one here and get rid of my Post-it note, and then I'm going to grab my score tape, and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch of score tape down one of the sides, and we're going to join these together. Okay. And then I'm going to use my scoreboard because I'm going to use that to help me line up the paper so that it's nice and straight. Okay, so I'll just get that in there, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up a little bit so I have a little bit more room. I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to take this first piece of cardstock, and I'm going to lay it down flush and lay that over that so that we can join it together. Okay, and then we'll get rid of this guy for just a second. Actually, no, we won't. We're going to take it back because we're going to use my spacers. So hang on just a second. Let me grab these. So I'm waiting. I'm going to be getting the spacers from Country Craft Creations that are actually made out of, I think it's a plexiglass, and they will replace the cardstock spacers that we have been using. It's going to be really nice, let me tell you. It's going to be really nice to have those, because these are getting a little worn. But these are 1-inch spacers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chipboard here, take the tape off, I'm going to lay it down, and then we're going to do a little bit of trimming on it, which is okay. And then I'm just going to lay this down like so. Okay, then I'm going to take this off and move that over for just a second. Grab my cutter pad here, and then I'm going to grab my ruler, and I'm going to grab my craft knife, and I'm going to cut this 1 inch to the other side. Okay, put that over there, just line it up. Oh good, this one's sharper. The last video I did, I had a blade that wasn't very sharp. This one seems to be working, so yay. I'm going to take that off there. And then we'll turn it around and we're going to trim an inch on this side as well. We'll have to do that in 2 passes here. Ah, that didn't work very good. Let's try that again. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight because it's going to fold over and get covered over anyway, so that's okay. Then I'll move it down that way. Line that up, trim that off. Okay, so we'll trim that piece off, and then we're going to take that piece that we just cut off, and we're going to take another 12 by 12 cardstock, and we're going to do the same thing. Join them together, and then we're going to and you can do it either way. I'm going to do it this way, but we're going to put our other piece of cardstock on there. Okay, so at this point I will speed this up because you just saw me do it, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to wrap this just like we would any other, you know, book cover kind of thing that we're going to do. We're just going to wrap it all on all 4 sides. So I'm going to grab my other bone folder. I like that one better for this. And I'm just going to feel the edges of my chipboard and then just run it down there because we're trying to train it to go where we want it to. Okay, so I just run it around all 4 sides, nice and gentle. Okay, and then I like to fold them over again. Just kind of train the paper to go where you want. And just remember, you will have a seam here, but we're going to cover this with pattern paper, and you're never going to be able to notice where that seam is. All right, so then we'll get our score tape and put that down on the corners, or on the edges, I should say. We're going to do this on all 4 sides. And usually I would have one of these already done, but because I wanted to show you how I did the paper, I just decided to do them both. But we'll speed through some of this because I know a lot of you have seen this already a bunch of times. So, okay, there we go. So then at this point, what I usually do is cut the corners, and I cut them kind of at a 45-degree angle, and I make sure that there's at least 1/8 of an inch in between the end of the chipboard and where I cut the cardstock. So I don't cut it flush because I use that little bitty 1/8 inch of a piece to kind of wrap around the corners a little bit. So got to make sure there's at least 1/8 of an inch though. And it doesn't have to be a perfect 45-degree angle. You can see I'm just kind of eyeballing it here, which is a-okay, because again, it's going to be covered with, you know, your pattern paper. So you're not going to see the mitered corners on this. So I would be very precise if you were going to see them, which we are going to do later. So anyway, then another thing that you can do is get your art glitter glue, and if it's not clogged up at the tip, we can run a little bead of glue on the edge, and I usually do like one side at a time when I do that, and then I'm just going to stick it down a little bit and then fold it over and stick it. Okay, just like that. Okay, and And then the next side, the opposite side. And I honestly haven't seen a Whitman's candy box, and I don't even know how long, but I thought this would be a really cute idea to do for Halloween, because you could give it to someone with candy in it. You could totally do that. You could give it to, you know, a child, to your kids or your grandkids, and you could put like little toys in it too. So it'd be a kind of a cute thing, and especially this year since things are kind of weird, this might be a fun thing to do, you know, for your kids and grandkids. Or your spouse. You could totally do it, give it to your spouse too. And then it would be a really cute like box to just keep forever and ever and ever. Nice addition to your Halloween decor. And then I was just like really like going to town with trying to figure out the boxes. I like the frame. They make great box size. So all right, where's my rag there? Okay. So then the other thing, if I run the bead of glue, then I usually try to use my bone folder and just make sure that that sticks down on the edges, and it makes kind of a nice square edge on your chipboard here. Okay, so that's our first piece wrapped. The bottom and the top are going to be the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll speed through that and so we have our two pieces of chipboard ready to go. So now there's, we're going to work on the bottom right now, and then we're going to set that to the side. So we'll take the one that's the top, we're going to put this off to the side, let's work on our bottom. So part of the bottom will show on the edges, because if you remember the Whitman's box, the box was kind of inset from the lid and the base. So we're going to need to put a little bit of pattern paper just on the three sides. So, and we're also going to add a seam binding closure to this. So for this, you're going to need 3 pieces of cardstock, and one piece will be 11 3/8 by 1, and you'll have 2 pieces that are 8 5/8 by 1, and you're going to have to angle these. So I did one already, and I'll show you how to do the other one, but that's what we're going to need for this. So I'll put that right here for a second. And then I have inked the edges of these because of the core of this paper is white and this was black, so I decided to ink it a little bit. I'm using a little bit of the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Ground Espresso, and it looked really pretty. So to angle this at a 45-degree angle, this is 1 inch wide. So basically what I did was I put it down on my mat here, lined it up with the measurements here, and took my pencil and did a tick at 1 inch up here at the top edge, because we're gonna cut, actually, I take that back. We gotta watch this for a second. Okay, so this one's gonna go here. This one I cut already for here. So this one's gonna go here, so it has to be at the other way. So you have to watch your angles. You will have to do them opposite on this one. So line it up and put it at the bottom. Okay, glad I caught that before I did that, because I don't have any paper left. I can't make another one. So I hope I don't screw this up. So then I'm going to take the pencil mark and the corner, and I'm just going to cut that angle off. So when we stick it down here, then the angle will be, you know, correct for covering that. Okay, so this little piece goes away, and then this piece we're going to put some ink on since we just cut the edge, and then we'll glue them down. So this piece will go here, this piece will go here, this piece will go down at the front. This will end up being the front. Now before I put this down, I do want to make sure that I put my seam binding, and this is about 1 foot of seam binding, and I'm just going to grab my ruler here and then just put it in the middle. So right about there, I'm going to put a little bit of score tape here to secure it. And then lay my seam binding down. Now while I'm doing this, now this is my design team project for Country Craft Creations, so that's where I received the papers, the Authentique's Masquerade paper. Whoops, can't get a hold of that, now I've unraveled it. And also the seam binding. I am using Artisan Cardstock and chipboard from Country Craft Creations, and I'm also using the art glitter glue from Country Craft Creations. So yeah, I think the only thing that I'm not using from Country Craft Creations is the decorations and embellishments that I'm going to add to the lid when we're all done. Okay, so this long piece goes down first, and I'm just going to stick it down there and make sure it's even, make sure this is flat. There we go. Okay, because a little bit of that will show. Okay, let me get my little bone folder here. There we go. Or my scraper, I should say. That comes in handy for smaller projects. And then we're gonna just take these sides and we're gonna lay them down. We're just gonna match the points and then lay it down and glue it down just like that. So you can see how the edge is really nice and mitered. Looks really, really nice. Okay. Match that up. Just lay it down up the side. Just like that. And there's going to be the box part is going to sit on top of this, so that's why we're not covering the whole thing. If you wanted to, you totally could just cover the whole thing with a piece of pattern paper, but seems like that would be a waste since this whole area is going to be covered up. You know, you won't get to see the pattern paper. And then I was using what I had left over. My next design team project is going to be a big one, and I wanted to see what I had left over, and so I'm using the scraps that I had along with the few pieces of sheets that I had left over to make this box. But I'm putting out the box tutorial first because I'm saving the biggest project for last. So there. Okay, so get that down. All right, so we have that piece done. Okay, so this is the bottom of our box. I am not going to put pattern paper on the bottom because that's not going to show anyway. You can if you want to, but I'm not going to. So this is going to be how it sits, and these edges will show, and then the box actually will sit on top of here, and that's going to cover all of that up. So we're not going to need to put any other pattern paper on here. So we're going to put this off to the side now. Okay, and then what we're going to do is let's work on the actual box itself. You will need a few pieces for this. So we're going to start off with the base of the box that's actually going to sit on top of that base. Will be one piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 11. And then you're going to need a couple other pieces. You're going to need the sides, the long sides. I'm calling them long sides, so they'll go this side, this side. You'll need 2 at 11 by 5.5. And then you're going to need the short sides, which will be over here, and these are 2 at 8.5 by 5.5, so you'll need 2 of those. All right, now the other thing you're going to need, and we'll go through the pattern paper too, but the other thing you're going to need are what I'm calling side hinges, because in the frame project this was only 3/4 of an inch, and you didn't really need to, you know, do anything with it because we weren't trying to hold anything in the box itself, and it closed up really nice. But since this is going to be taller, it's going to be a 2-inch side, you'll see a gap where the two pieces meet, and so we're going to use these little side hinges to close those up. So you will need 4 of those, and they measure 2 by 3. Okay, so with the side hinges, I've already done this on them, but you will need to take, where'd my other one go? Thought I had, where did my, oh, there it is. Dropped it. So you will have, they're 2 inches by 3. You'll score them down the middle at 1.5. Okay, so on the 3-inch side, you'll score down at 1.5. And then we're going to fold them like so, okay? And then you're going to miter them ever so slightly, okay? So at the fold, and then just kind of do that. So these are going to just connect the sides together and make it even more sturdy, okay? So we'll need 4 of those. Now I've already used 2 of them, and I'll show you that in a minute, okay? So let's start with, we'll put these aside, we'll put the short side ones aside, and we'll take our long sides, and we're going to stick them in our scoreboard. And I'm going to drop everything. I can just tell I'm going to drop everything everywhere. Okay, so we're going to take, I already did one of them already, but we're going to take the long sides, and you're going to put them in your scoreboard with the 5.5 inch side on top, and you're going to score them at 1/2 inch, okay, at 2.5, at 3, and at 5, okay? So again, the long piece, 5.5 at the top, 11 on the side, score it at 1/2 inch, 2.5, 3, and 5, okay? Do that for both of them. And then you're gonna want to fold and burnish, like we always do, okay? And on longer pieces, it is a little easier, at least it is for me. When you start to press it down, press it from the middle out. It seems to help keep the lines where they really need to be, and the scores don't get a little wonky. Okay, all right. So then the one thing that you do need to remember is if you're using directional paper, which I am, you need to make sure you get the orientation the proper way. So one of the 1/2 inch tabs we're going to miter. The other one, just leave it alone. Okay, so we have one that's mitered. That is going to attach to the base of the box. And then these pieces are going to, so if you can imagine my base, we're going to attach it to the box like that. And then this will fold over, and then that's what's going to create our side, okay? It is easier to put pattern paper on these before you do that. So let's do that really super quick. I did one already, okay? And we're gonna just do the other one exactly the same. So if you look at it, the piece that's going to attach to our base, obviously we're not going to cover with pattern paper. This one here at the top, that one's going to be attached to the base at the bottom, so we're not going to cover that with pattern paper either. So we're just going to cover the 3 insides. Now this one is going to be my outside, this one's going to be my inside, and you can see the bats are upside down the way we're looking at it, because when we fold it over, that's going to be the outside of the box, and that will be the inside of the box. Then the orientation will be correct. Okay, so you just have to make sure you do that. If you're using non-directional paper, that doesn't matter, it's a lot easier. But if you're using directional, then you need to really watch that, okay? So let's grab my papers here. So the pattern papers that you are going to need for this, you'll need 2 of those, and these each will measure 10 7/8 by 1 7/8, okay? So you'll need 4 total, 2 for the outside, 2 for the inside, okay? And then we're going to need a long strip that covers this. That will be the actual top edge of the box. And that piece will be 10 7/8 by 3/8, okay? Now this is all, again, I did a cutting guide list down below, so you have all the measurements you need for that, okay? So now let's make sure I got my orientation right, because I'm really good at not doing that. So this is how it's going to lay down, okay? And again, each piece is cut, and I already pre-inked it. So again, these are 1 7/8 by 10 7/8, all 4 of those, and then these 2 pieces here are 3/8 by 10 7/8. Okay, so we're just going to glue those down. And it's easier to do this now than it is once you make the box. So that's why we're going to go ahead and do it now. Okay. And I'm just going to lay this down and check and double check and triple check your orientation, you know, before you glue them down. Make sure that you get them the right way. All right, put a little glue on this strip. Now you don't need to put any you know, like lightweight chipboard or anything in the wall sides with all of this pattern paper on the Artisan Cardstock. Both of them are really nice and heavyweight. It really is a sturdy box, so you don't need to do anything more to it. You absolutely could add lightweight chipboard on the inside if you wanted to. And I did one practice box that I made that was a lot taller, and I did it definitely for that, just because it was taller, but it worked fantastic. But I was playing with, like, how big can you actually make these? It's kind of fun. So, all right, so this is where, okay, we're at. So we got our two sides done, and then this is where we're going to use our hinges. Now on the one that I had already made, we're just going to attach them to the outside piece, and we're going to just glue them to the inside here, okay? But make sure that they're to the outside piece that we're going to have for our box. So I'm just going, whoop, after I kind of throw it across the desk here, put a little glue here, and then I found it easier if I just turned it upside down and then matched and put it right to the score line in the edge of the paper. Okay, and then turn it over. Okay, and then the next piece, and again, these are going to just help reinforce the sides and connect the two together really well. All right, just like that. Isn't this paper adorable? I just love it. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love it. It's better than my birthday. It's better than anything. Okay, so these pieces are done. Let's grab our base piece that's 8.5 by 11. We'll just attach them and get that part done. So these are just going to be on the long side, and we're just going to attach them just down like that. So I'm going to fold that edge over again. I'm going to apply my glue. And grab a hold of this and lay that down. All right. Okay, second side, same thing. I turn it around so I can see it better. Put my glue on my strip here. All right. I hope we have a Halloween this year. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with the COVID and all that. I'm hoping that we have one. We don't have too many kids that come to our house, but, you know, I like to make, for the few that do come, I like to make like goodie bags for them and fill them with treats and toys, and, you know, they're getting a little older, so we're going to start throwing money in there because we don't have too many that come to our house anymore. But I really would like to see some trick-or-treaters. That's my favorite part. Okay, so this is how this is going to, when we roll it up and attach it, then we got our box. Okay, so I was so busy telling you to worry about the orientation of your paper that I totally forgot an important step. We needed to attach the hinge for our lid. Now the hinge is going to be on the back of the box, and it's going to attach the lid to the actual box itself. You can't put the pattern paper on until you get the hinge on. So we're going to have to backtrack just a little bit on our box and I had to cut out another piece of paper. Thank heavens I had another piece of paper. So what we should have done is add our hinge. So let's get rid of this for just a second and let's look at this base. Okay, so we're gonna pick which one's front and back, doesn't matter. One of them will work just fine. So the hinge will attach to the back of the box like this, and then that's what the lid is going to attach to, okay? So we have to add that. So we should have put that on right here and then covered it with pattern paper. So we're just gonna redo this a little bit, okay? So the hinge you're gonna need is 3 by 11 and a half. And we're gonna take it on the 3-inch and we're gonna score it down at 1.5, okay? And then I'm gonna fold this, get this out of the way for a second, and burnish. And then again, we're going to miter it just a little bit. Like that. And this is okay. We caught it before we did anything too terrible. We need to make sure that we remember to attach it to the lid before we put pattern paper on part of it, but we will do that. I promise we will do that. Okay, so the way the hinge is going to sit is it's going to sit like this. Okay, and the box will open, you know, like that. So we're going to need to glue it to the edge on this piece. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to fold it again, burnish it. Make sure you do it both ways because it will be folding both directions. And then we'll glue this on. And I'm sorry for that, but now you can see how to fix a boo-boo. I didn't get my paper orientation messed up, but I did forget to put the hinge on. I get so excited. So I'm going to turn this around so I can see it. So I'm just going to lay this down, and you're going to want to go right to the score line. Okay? There we go. Okay. And then I cut another piece of paper, and then we're just going to cover that up. And look, no one will ever know. So if you don't tell, I won't tell. How's that? I'm so glad I had another piece of this paper, though, because honestly, I made this box, and it didn't take very much paper to do the whole thing. And it's a pretty big box. But it took, I think, let's see, five sheets total, and then some scraps. So, okay. All right. Okay, so on one of those pieces, you have to add your hinge. Okay, so now we have our hinge. So when this folds down and we glue it down, and we'll have the hinge, and that's what our box lid will be attached to, okay? All right, now let's put this away, and let's grab our sides. Okay, so we need 2 pieces that are 8.5 by 5.5, and I did one already. We'll go through all of this. Let me get rid of the cutter, and I'll grab my scoreboard. So 8.5 by 5.5, you're gonna stick your paper in, and you're going to score it the same way you did the other sides. You're going to score at 1/2, 2.5, 3, and 5. And then what you're going to do is turn it so that the 8.5 is at the top. And then at the 1/2 inch mark, you're going to go through, there's a 1/2 inch tab here and then a 2-inch tab here. You're going to go from the 1/2 inch down through the 2-inch and then stop. Don't go through this middle 1/2 inch, okay, just those first 2. And then you're going to go on the 8 and you're going to do the same thing, okay? So we have a vertical score here through this 1/2 inch piece here and this 2-inch piece here, not through this 1/2 inch piece in the middle, okay? You got to leave that unscored, okay? So we do that to both of them. And then we are going to grab our scissors, and in that 1/2 inch tab you'll see the score here and then the score from this vertical line here. We're going to connect those two and just cut a triangle out like that. And then you're going to cut that score out. Okay, so you'll end up with that. And we're going to do that to both sides. So again, go to the score in that middle 1/2 inch and just angle it up and meet that 1/2 inch score that we made from the top down. And then just cut that guy out. All right, and then you will have a piece that looks like that. All right, and again, fold and burnish everything. We don't have to, at this point, attach anything extra to these pieces, so that's good. I can go ahead and paper it and I won't have to worry about it. Yikes. Okay. Okay, so we have our piece like this. So the longer piece of this will be the outside, and then as it folds in, it has to fold over the side pieces. So that's why you have to cut that piece out. So this will be the inside, this will be the outside. So we have our pieces here, and so you'll need 2 pieces here that are 8 3/8 by 1 7/8. You will need 2 pieces here that are, where's my measurement? Oh, here it is. This middle piece here is 3/8 by 8 1/4, and then the back piece here, the smaller piece, is 1 7/8 by 7 3/8. Okay, again, all the measurements will be in the comments. I'll have all of this listed for you. Okay, so, and I need to trim this because I didn't trim that right. So let me do that real quick. Can you tell it's a little late in the evening and I am getting tired? Let me see. So 7 3/8. 7 3/8. Let's measure it just to make sure. So this piece is 7 1/2. Yes. So we're going to measure and cut at 7 3/8. Just do that really super quick. Okay. Then re-ink that edge. Okay. Boom. There. Okay. That's better. All right. So let's glue these guys down. Okay. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to miter this guy right here. It's really simple to do. So this guy is 3/8 inch wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to just make a mark at 3/8 inch on the edge here, and then we're going to cut that. So let's grab my ruler again, and I'm going to just put it right here, and I'm just going to, it doesn't matter top or bottom because they're going to be the same. And this is a non-directional paper, so that helps. So I'm going to just mark at 3/8. And then take my scissors, and I'm going to match that pencil mark to the corner and cut. So that will give us a perfect little 45-degree miter. So then all you have to do is don't make a crease in it, but fold it over and match the ends. Okay? And then you don't have to measure it again because it's going to be the same kind of angle just on the other side. So just measure, or just fold it over, get it nice and even, don't crimp it, and then just take your scissors and cut, and then you'll have the perfect little miter, and you only have to measure once, which is kind of cool. So that's a wee bit long after I just said that, so I'm going to just cut just a little bit more off. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to ink this real quick. Just a little bit of ink to take the white out of the paper. If I'm doing paper, like if I have white or ivory cardstock that I'm using as a base, I probably wouldn't, you know, ink edges on my papers, but since this is darker papers and black cardstock that I'm using. I think it looks better. Okay, and just lay that down there. There we go. Okay. There. Okay. So we have our orientation of our papers right. We have our miter, or angled little piece cut. This paper is oriented correctly. We don't have to add any special things to these pieces, so that's good. All right, and we are done. And the last thing I need to do is just miter these little corners here that attach to the base of the box. Okay, so get some of this out of the way. Let's get our box. And there goes my notes. Okay, so I'm gonna take that out. All right, so these will be just attaching to the sides. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. All right, and I'm just gonna lay that down right at the edge. Okay, just like that. Okay. All right, and this one, we'll do the same thing. I'm going to turn it over just so I can see it better. Get glue all over myself. That's always good too. All right, then put this down like that. Okay. Okay. This is going to make a really nice size too, because when you get it done, I could fit 9 cupcake liners in there too, so that was kind of cool. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, if I can find what I did with it, is here's my pattern paper that I'm going to use for, oops, there we go. Is that going to stick? Okay. There we go. That little corner just didn't look like it was stick. Okay, so we're going to use a piece of pattern paper to cover the inside. This is 8.5 by 11, so I basically did an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and then I cut a 1/16 of an inch off one short side and one long side to make it 10 7/16 by 8 7/16. So again, if you want to cut it just 8.5 by 11 and then take off a 1/16 of an inch sliver off one short side and one long side, that will work just perfect. And that's going to cover the inside of the box, the base of the box. So we will go ahead and put our glue on. We're getting real close to forming this guy up. It's going to be really cool. All right, let's lay that guy down. And it should fit right nice, right within all of the scores. That's why I took the 1/16 of an inch off, to make sure that the sides folded up real nice. Okay. Wanted to make sure that that happened. Okay. All right. So now we're going to create our box. So we need to use these tabs to attach the sides. So we're going to do that first. Okay. So I know a lot of you have made boxes before, so you always have some sort of tab that you have to use. Because this yeah, because this frame, this way we're making the frame, is so, you know, tall, you have to you have to kind of make the side, you know, connect the sides. So if it was just the 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch, then I wouldn't do this. But since it's 2 inches, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to see if this will work. Clip in there just to kind of hold it together, let it dry. And then we'll do the rest. But I am going to make sure to line up the corners really nice. I'm just going to hold it here for just a sec, let the glue work. The glue does work pretty darn fast, so that's good. Okay. Grab another clip. Sneak that in there. It's a little fiddly, but it's well worth it when you get it done, because this is pretty cool. If I do say so myself. I think this turned out to be a pretty cool little project. And I could see a lot of other applications too. I mean, you know, I'm making it for Halloween, obviously, but this would be a really cute Christmas box. This would be kind of a cute box to make. Fill it with, you know, like you could store stuff in it, your embellishments or whatnot. You could use it for a swap or something. Gift box, which, you know, has lots of different uses after everybody's done with it, you know, as a gift box. So yeah, it's really kind of cute. So I'm gonna get, this is kind of the hardest fiddly part right here. Just get in there, get this one attached. Did it. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so I'll clamp that real quick and then we'll kind of look at the other side here and see how we're doing. Okay. I think we're good. Right on. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so when that is glued, then there we go. Cool. Okay, so long sides go in first. So we will put, these are going to be folded down and glued just like that, nice and flush. The 1/2 inch tab will fit right nice and flush to the box. So we'll just take that out and we're going to put a little glue on the 1/2 inch tab. Okay, I'm gonna fold it under there and line it up and then push it down. And unfortunately, you can't really get in there with anything to press it down, but when you push it in and kind of push it down, it will take, and especially with the art glitter glue, it will hold. Okay. Okay, and we'll do the other long side. I'm sorry if my gray hair is getting in the way. Trying not to. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. And don't worry about getting the art glitter glue if you get it on your paper down here. I mean, it will dry and it will dry clear. So if you get a little bit on there, it's okay. Just, you know, wipe it up. Okay. All right. So now we've got our sides done, the long sides. Now these will fold down. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to fold over a piece of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue in this little triangle here too, and we're going to help hold that down, okay? So we'll do that, and then we'll put a little bit of glue here. And then I'm going to fold it over and down, and then just kind of pinch the edges too while you're holding it down with your third hand, and then that will catch that too. Be a nice sturdy box. You guys will be pleasantly amazed at how sturdy this is. Okay, right on. Okay, then this side, same thing. So we'll put a little glue in this little triangle area right here on the side of the box. That's what's going to help catch the long sides. And then we'll put a little glue here. Pull that under just a little bit. Tuck that in. Square it up, push it in. Make sure those corners catch. Right on. Isn't this cute? Oh my gosh, this is super cute. It's hard sometimes to imagine what it's going to look like when you know, cut the papers out until you actually like get them on the project. And oh my gosh, this is just cute. I love this paper. I just love this paper. Okay, all right, so we have our box. Now, what we're gonna do is we're going to attach our base, and then we're gonna attach our lid. So this sits right on top of our base, okay? So we made our base, it sits right on top, and it will sit flush to the back side. So that's why we didn't put pattern paper back here, because it's gonna go flush with the back side, okay? So basically, this is just a matter of lining it up and gluing it on, okay? So we just have to get our glue. All right, get our glue, and then we're going to lay it on here. And then I'm going to just tip it up so that I can make sure that it's nice and flush. And then press it down. Okay, so you can see it has a little lip in the front, has a little lip on the side, but we're flush on the back, okay? Just nice and flush, okay? So there is our box on our base with our bottom closure. Top, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use this hinge to connect it to here, and it's going to be flush just like we did the bottom. So I'm going to put glue on my hinge here. Okay, and then I'll put my lid on. I'm going to center that. It's about 1/4 inch on either side of the box, and then I'm going to just make sure that it's flush in the back. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and tip it like this and make sure we have a good stick. All right, so there you go. That part is done now. So then I'm going to grab my pattern paper for the inside, which matches the bottom of the box. And this piece here, this cardstock piece, measures 11 3/8 by 8 5/8. So I'm going to put some glue on here while it's sitting in this position. It's nice and perfect for that. turn this way a little bit so you see what I'm doing here. And lay that down. And that will cover that nicely. Now, I'm not planning on doing a whole lot of decorating on the inside of this box, but you certainly could do some sort of decoration on the inside. You could put, you know, a place to put a card or a gift card, you know, like some sort of envelope here. You could even do this as a like a scrapbook page and put picture frame opportunities in here, but we're going to keep this as a candy box today. But you could definitely do some stuff with this. So there you go. So the inside of our box is all done. Okay, and there's the lid, and there we go. So now we just have to add the outside piece and decorate. So our outside lid pattern paper is going to be 11 3/8 by 8 5/8, and then we're going to need another piece of seam binding, and I cut it again at about 1 foot to do the tie closure. So we'll have to add that first. So I'm going to grab my square tape and my centering ruler and try to make sure that I get it nice and centered. Okay. Alright, so stick my score tape or my seam binding there, and then we're going to grab my paper that's going to cover the lid, and alright. Lay that right on top. Center that. There we go. Make sure that we get that nice and stuck here. Okay. All right. So there you have it. So this is done as far as the box assembly. We are done. So then the ribbon here is the nice closure, so it'll close real pretty there and tie your little bow. Is that super cute or what? All right, and then when you open this up, you can put all kinds of stuff in here. So it's 2 inches deep, okay, and then it measures 10 inches by 7.5. So you could put a lot of things in here. And like I said, I put 9 different you know, regular size cupcake holders in here, and they fit perfect. So probably couldn't put a whole lot of icing on there, but you could fill the cupcake holders with candy and stuff like that. So I'm going to decorate this, and then I will be done with this project. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will share some pictures of the decoration when I get done with it. Thank you for watching. Please make sure that you go to Country Craft Creations and get your paper, get your Authentique Masquerade paper, and get these projects. This is awesome. And then real soon I will be getting the next project done, and it will be a nice big one, and you're gonna love it. So I will see you later. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Bye.